the baby boomer generation, it's easy to fall behind in the fast-paced, technology-crazed information age. But in her book, it's called Is This Thing On?, author Abby Stokes takes the most terrified technophobes by the hand and demystifies the world of computers. And just one of the topics she touches on is introducing senior citizens to the world of online dating. And here to fill us in, please welcome Abby Stokes. I got to tell you, we were fascinated by this topic. We were talking about it in the makeup room this morning about seniors now heading to the internet for dating, but you're seeing more and more of it.
We're seeing much more. Well, we're seeing much more seniors get online. That's really what's feeding this, is because at the moment, less than half of seniors are actually online. So, it's a big number, but it's building. Sorry, it's building every year. So we get more seniors online. We get more seniors who are available for dating because, in fact, seniors get younger every day, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, me too. By the time we're there, let me tell you, we're going to be so young.
I know, we're going to be so young. We're going to be fabulous and young. I've been working with seniors for 15 years, and what's interesting is I see what maybe other people aren't really willing to confront is that their parents and grandparents have a very active sexual and romantic life.
No, I can't hear you right now. I'm not listening.
Don't think about it. But I see it all the time, so I realized in writing this book that chapter was sort of a fundamental chapter to put in.
We should mention, though, that your book is really all-encompassing, from how to buy a computer to navigating the internet to all of this technology that people might be a little intimidated by, right?
Exactly. I wrote the book because in the course of my teaching, I would be asked, what books can I go out there and see that are like the teaching? And in fact, there weren't any. So this book takes you from the very beginning. I don't know what a computer is. I don't know why I want it, all the way to buying it, going online, visiting me with your first email. And then it goes into digital photography and things that are a bit more advanced after that. So it sort of it's soup to nuts.
And the seniors who you teach, how do they respond to this section about online dating?
Well, by and large, they don't ever think of themselves as not being sexy and romantic. That's what we think of them.
That's how we perceive
You know,
it.
you never think that you're old, really.
Right.
I mean, so they still feel young and they're still feeling very active. So for them, they see it and they don't think it's a weird transition. We do.
So is that what inspired this section of the book for you?
Yes, I knew that they were dating, they were wanting to date, and it just makes it easier to give them safety tips on how to do it correctly and give them tips because it's a different environment than what they're used to.
So let's talk about the tips for online dating, and really not just for seniors. I mean, this is across the board because I think more and more people are dating online. It's just easier with our hectic schedules these days.
It's true. It's true.
So the first tip you offer is you say decipher the lingo. What do you mean by that?
Well, all right. The first time I went online dating, you get to choose whether you want to be, you're looking for a marriage, you're looking for a relationship, you're looking to play. I chose play. My response is...
What does that mean?
Okay, that means hanky-panky.
Okay.
I thought it meant like, I want to have fun. And so the first thing I get are emails back with like, ooh, there were graphic people's body parts that I wasn't expecting to see in my emails.
Okay.
So play means sex. Let's be clear about that.
So proceed with caution when you tell people you want to play.
So the best thing to do is go onto these websites and look at some profiles to get a sense of how people are communicating with each other. That you can do for free.
Okay.
So go to the website, see how people are saying things to each other, and then sort of take on that lingo when you create your own profile.
Next, you say to be honest.
Be honest.
It's
okay.
important.
I'm 47. I weigh 130 pounds.
Okay.
If I said I was 37 and I weighed 100 pounds and I met you, you'd be disappointed. So we don't want disappointment to be the first response when you meet somebody. So be honest. Say what your age is. Say what your weight is if you want to put it in there, because we don't want to and you, in turn, wouldn't want somebody to arrive to you who's 20 pounds heavier and 10 years older.
Right. You want them to be happier with the outcome once they finally meet you, as opposed to be set up for disappointment.
Exactly.
All right. You say throw a wide net.
Yes. So it may have been that you think of yourself as somebody who only dates people that are within this age range or this economic structure. You know what? In this case, why not throw it afield? Maybe you didn't think of dating somebody 10 years younger. Why not put them in your profile as, sure, I'll look at somebody who's 45 instead of starting at 55. You might not be successful right now with your romantic life because you actually don't know what fits you best. So why not widen what you think fits you best and see what you might catch?
Makes sense. Bottom line, if you click, right?
Exactly.
Have courage, you say.
Have courage. I think for a lot of women, they tend to wait to be approached, and I think this is online dating. It's mutually acceptable. So you go out there and you approach people, and if you approach somebody and you don't hear back from them, don't take it personally. They might have just met their true love that night before. So just go out and send out some more emails.
Maybe your message got lost in cyberspace or something. You say get to the date.
Get to the date. I think what a lot of people can do is they can use this as a pen pal because they're afraid instead of actually meeting people. Your goal is to meet people. So when you start to communicate with somebody, your goal is to make a date with them, not to tell them everything about you before they meet you, because then there's no surprises when you actually talk.
Save something. Save a little something.
Exactly.
You touched on safety tips earlier, so we should talk about safety tips. tips. And
Yeah.
the first one is, obviously you want to leave a good impression and be polite, but don't be too polite.
All right. I come from a generation where we still, we write a thank you note for a thank you note. That doesn't really work online.
Okay.
So what you want to do is, if somebody contacts you and you're not interested, you don't have to email them back and apologize. Don't contact them at all. But more importantly, if somebody emails you and it's inappropriate, they somehow have offended you, you can actually block them on these websites. You don't have to just not respond. You can say, I don't ever want to hear from this person again. So be aggressive that way to protect yourself.
In the online world, that is acceptable.
That is totally acceptable.
Also, use a secondary email address for...
Well, I suggest you do this for online shopping as well as online dating. You have the email address that your friends and family communicate with you on.
Right.
Why not open up a second one that doesn't reveal your identity as much? So like if my primary email address is Abby Stokes at whatever, maybe I'd be Yellow Bird at whatever for this. And when you fill in your profile of your first name and last name, don't say Abby Stokes. I don't want them to know my first and last name.
Okay.
You might be that old joke, you're a writer or I'm a writer. Do that instead, so they don't know your last name until you've met them and decided they should know your last name.
Makes sense. I just like Yellowbird. I might use that actually. Yellowbird@hotmail.com. No personal information. Don't give out personal information.
You don't want to tell them your last name. Actually, as a woman, I don't give them my cell phone number or my home number because they can find out my name from that. So I might take their number, and if I had to contact them because I couldn't make the date, no personal information about your kids or your family or your job. You don't know who they are yet.
Also have people know or be aware of where you are, meet in a public place, tell a friend where you're going when you go to meet this person.
Absolutely. And also maybe only have it be a 15-minute date.
Okay.
Say to them, we're meeting for 15 minutes. If we like each other, we're going to make a second date. That way you're not stuck there for 2 hours sort of, twiddling your thumbs thinking, I don't like them.
This last one, I always say go with your gut. Go with your gut. Listen to your instincts.
Listen to your instincts. I think that the best advice I ever got in a relationship is actions speak louder than words. Up until meeting somebody, you only have their words. So the moment you meet them and you see their actions, your instincts are able to say this is good or this isn't good. And follow your instincts, because your heart can be so easily wooed by poetry, and we don't want to fall into that trap.
Absolutely. Some good advice. The book, again, is called Is This Thing On? A Computer Handbook for Late Bloomers, Technophobes, and the Kicking and Screaming. We only touched on one topic. There are lots more in this book. Abby Stokes, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting.